Guess who's back? Yeah, I've been away a while, so we are gonna have to do a lot of catching up. So let us start off with Madrinker, who put out his recent review of KRAVEN. And it may shock people because most of the videos with Drinker are like, which he is. He's a racist scumbag. He's a moron. He's cinematically illiterate. One of the peak moments of all time in my life is hearing Drinker trying to come up with Japanese films and using Korean and Chinese films because, Japan, he admires the aesthetics, but doesn't know anything about it. So he's a complete mess, which gets us to Craven because, as reluctant as I am, again, it was not a great review of the film. He missed a lot of things, which we'll get to, but I would say the basic verdict was correct. This is a sloppy mess. Craven, minor spoilers, not that good. Not that good at all.
The Hunter is something that I'd struggle to even call a movie, because it's less of a structured narrative with a beginning, middle and end, and more like a bunch of disjointed scenes and action sequences thrown together into a...
I cannot really disagree. There are good things in Craven. Some of the solid action scenes do a lot for the movie because that is the best part. I wouldn't say the 8 minutes at the beginning are the best, but that is where it's a lot better. And that's the problem. The low moments in Craven are so many, and some things are just laughable. Just laughable. Of course, Drinker has to be, I wouldn't say racist, but of course, be snarky about the black woman minority actress or whoever. Maybe she's Hispanic. I don't know. I don't care. So he's a little too harsh on her acting. Her acting is fine, but yes, his basic just that they're really not doing anything at all with the plot or the characters is correct. It is just very, very shallow. It is just so surface. So as you usually think, he's exaggerating, but no, he was correct. It was pretty thin.
Told her that she needed to be there to save him, so she gives him a magical bullshit medicine that brings him back to life and turns him into a superhuman hunter.
Really?
Yeah, it really is that simple. He gets magic powers because magic women give him magic powers. That's it. And apparently the magic powers are enough, so he gets more magic powers. And there you go. You could have just saved us a lot of money and time and just done Craven the Magician. Because that's what I was wondering, like, wow, he is really powerful. I thought the whole premise of the film is he's still human, but maybe he's like, not Captain America, but kind of like Captain America, just peak strength, right? Like the peak of human power, like Batman. No, he's not a Batman. He's just Magic Man. He's just very generic Magic Man. He's not as powerful as Spider-Man, but he's a couple notches below. I think that we've been fair to Drinker. We will look at his stupidity because he definitely missed a few things. And again, it's Craven. Nobody cares. But yeah, he was kind of like puzzled about the rhino. And I will agree, the rhino looks terrible. The rhino is not the best part of the movie. And I'm pretty critical even of the animated series. I love it. But that one had a few problems. But again, it was a cartoon. But still, the rhino could look a lot better. So just do the cartoon. But no, they're going to do this.
And then Rhinoceros Man turns into an actual rhinoceros so that he can have a fist fight with Craven. And even though his skin's supposed to be so impenetrable that even gunshots don't do anything to him, Craven stabs him in the stomach anyway, and then he gets run over by a bunch of buffalo and dies. Then Craven...
Hard to understand. The rhino has a vulnerable spot. They literally point to it several times. Yeah, but the whole thing is a mess. Like, he's trying to be the rhino, but doesn't want to be the rhino, so he does things to prevent from becoming rhino. But then he's like, no, I'll be... Yeah, it's stupid. That said, Craven finding a weak point, they did show it. It's not a plot hole. It is disappointing because from the trailer, you think like, oh, wow, this is gonna... No, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but it's like, that's not what you think it is. Like, oh. Listen, I'm a hardcore Spider-Man fan. I have tons and tons of the comics. Played the video games, not the recent ones, but the old ones in the 1990s. I even played the Sega Genesis one. I think that's technically 1989. Anyway, so I'm a hardcore fan. I know my Spider-Man, the cartoons, the whole thing. When they named the real villain, I was like, who? Like, listen, I got most of the Easter eggs. There are a lot of references to the comics. That's probably the one really great thing they did. Still, the references don't make sense if you really know the comics, but okay. I was like, okay, that's impressive. But when they referred to that guy, I was like, who is that guy? It's like, oh, it's him. They're going to use him? Even I was scratching my head and I was like, well, why? It's not even really connected to commit. Anyway, so yeah, not a good film. Not a good film. That said, Drinker missed a lot because he's not a real fan. He's not a real Spider-Man fan. He's just a fake passive fan. But even a fake passive fan can be justified in saying, yeah, this was kind of wasted 2 hours. That said, a few decent scenes, some really great references, and I do think Aaron was very committed. But I cannot disagree with the basic verdict. Yeah, Craven was a really bad film. Not the worst film of the year, but it will probably go on my list of the worst. Not top 5, but, I'll stick it at number 8. But I think Drinker making the case for number 4, number 3, you can make the case for it. You can, unfortunately.